What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Drew Deaks channel. Looking forward to getting to this video, guys. It is the season, the 2022-23 season is creeping right up on us, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the Habs top 10. Well, I shouldn't say top 10 because I couldn't fit 10 in this list, guys. So it's the top storylines, the top players to keep an eye out for in the 22-23 NHL season for the Montreal Canadiens. So got a lot of stuff to go through. Not going to spend a ton of time on each one of them because by the end of this, what I would like you guys to do, if you're interested in the comment section, is to comment what your top storylines you're looking forward to in this coming season. So let's get right into it. Lots of stuff to get to. Like I said, it's not a top 10. That's why I didn't put that in the title. So let's just get right to it here. So Nick Suzuki's quote, "We have a deep team, and I think that we're going to surprise people." So that's something to keep an eye out for because Nick really genuinely feels like the Canadiens have a chance to do something good this season, and that probably means not finish in the bottom 5, which or even the bottom 10, which a lot of fans may not want to hear, but we'll see how that actually plays out. So first overall pick, Uri Slafkovsky. This is one of the biggest storylines for the year by far. Going to see what happens with Slav, and did we make the right pick? And I think that we're going to discover that pretty quickly that we did. But that being said, it's going to be something to keep an eye on to see how Slav, basically, first of all, how he shows up at camp, if he's gained some weight, if he's gained some muscle mass, and just how he's going to look. And we're going to see him at rookie camp even before that in a matter of days now in Buffalo. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well. But I think we're all really excited to see what Uri Slafkovsky can bring. Really looking forward to seeing his NHL debut, which I may be at, by the way. I may be going to the opening game at the Bell Center again this year. So just throwing that out there. All right, so that was the question, really, is will Slav be NHL ready? Will he be a Calder candidate potentially for Rookie of the Year? I have no idea, but I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing, between himself, Shane Wright, Logan Cooley, maybe Nemec even, or even some sleepers down the line from the 2022 draft class. I'd be really curious to see what his chances are to get the Calder. So, all right, who is Kirby Dach? So this is a big gamble for the Canadiens, some still feel, by trading Romanov for Kirby Dach, and we're going to get a chance to see him very shortly. And I'm really curious what this guy is going to bring at 6'4", over 200 pounds. We just have a big question mark surrounding this player right now because it was a big gamble for the Canadiens to go out and get him, but he's a center, and he's something that the Canadiens certainly absolutely need. They did it right around the same time as drafting Slafkovsky. They got a center and a winger in both of those players, and both guys are the same height. And I don't think Slav's done growing potential either. All right, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield. What are these guys going to do this year? What are the expectations for them? I think for Cole, the perfect season would be 30-plus goals. I think a 30-goal season for Cole would still be progress from his 23 that he got last year, especially considering his first half. He only had about 2 goals. Nick Suzuki with the 60-point season. And I think the expectation is that Nick will get closer to 70 points this year. That's what I'm thinking. 70-plus would be even better. Habs next captain. We're going to find this out in a matter of days, so not a lot of time to spend on this one, but likely Nick Suzuki or Brendan Gallagher. Martin St. Louis' first full season as head coach in the NHL and for the Montreal Canadiens specifically here. So he's going to get a nice roar in the home opener as well, I believe, when they introduce the coaches. It's going to be fun to see. And might see that in person. But going to be really cool to see how this new team, this rebuilding team, plays under a full season of Martin St. Louis. And also a new skills coach, development coach in Marie-Philippe Poulin, Adam Nicholas. We saw Nick Bobrov really involved in the drafting process. Vinny Lecavalier is there. There's all kinds of factors that could bring some success for the Canadiens this season. All right. How will Sean Monahan, self-proclaimed Sean Monahan, I don't know if he came up with that or the Canadiens did, but we saw the video with him. So how will he fit with the Montreal Canadiens, and what kind of return could he fetch at the trade deadline pending his season goes well? Or is there any possibility that he'll resign with the Montreal Canadiens if they really feel he's a great fit and they don't want him to go anywhere? I'd be surprised if they don't trade him. He's a little bit older. We know the injury issues, and we're going to get to the center depth in a moment, which Monahan is a part of, but we'll get there in a second. How many goals will Evgeny Dadonov get? In a perfect season, if it gets to the trade deadline and he's got 18 goals, that's beautiful because he'll hopefully be able to fetch at least a second or a third rounder. I mistakenly said that he could fetch a first and second rounder when the Shea Weber trade for Dadonov happened. He's not getting a first and second rounder, but a second or third might not be so bad for him. maybe even a second throw-in pick, like a 7th round pick or something like that. All right, what kind of Brendan Gallagher are we going to get this season? Is he going to have a nice bounce back? We know last year that the offseason was just very, very short for this team, and it just didn't give a lot of the guys proper time to rest. A lot of them struggled out of the gate, as we know. But what kind of Brendan Gallagher are we going to get? Is he going to get 20 goals again, 20-plus goals again? Is he going to adapt to Martin St. Louis' playing style? Is he going to evolve his game as St. Louis has said he would like Brendan Gallagher to do? This is a big year. I mean, Gally's got 5-6 years left on his long contract here at over $6.2 million. So let's see what he can bring, and I really hope that he has a bounce back season for the Habs. All right. So as I mentioned, the Habs center depth. So that looks like this, and I'm going to bring this up really quickly here. So Nick Suzuki, Christian Dvorak, Sean Monahan, Kirby Dach, and Jake Evans. My opinion on this, I think Monahan will start the season on the wing. That's kind of my gut feel, because we know the hip surgeries, we know the injuries he's coming off of, and to put him at center is a big responsibility, especially at second or third line center. Maybe he goes third line center and they start him there, and they got to flip-flop between Kirby Dach and Jake Evans on the fourth line to start. I don't know. But I think Monahan might start on the wing. So another interesting tidbit about the home opener is that is Monahan's birthday, and he definitely said he wants to play in it. Another great reason to be there, as I mentioned before. But I really think that he's going to start on the wing, and we'll see what he can do on the wing as a forward with the Montreal Canadiens before maybe he even tries center, but maybe center's a more natural fit in training camp. We're going to have to wait and see for that one. All right, this one's interesting for Habs fans. Habs trade bait, because we need to know in a rebuilding season again, a development season, what kind of players might be heading out the door. And this is the list that I came up with here. So Sean Monahan, Josh Anderson, a lot of interest from him even last year, Christian Dvorak, Jonathan Drouin, Evgeny Dadonov, Mike Hoffman, Jake Allen, and possibly Paul Byron if he's healthy. Could we get something for Paul Byron? So to me, this is the trade bait list ahead of the season for the Canadiens that seems most relevant to me based on where these guys are at. The fact that Jonathan Drouin, Evgeny Dadonov, Jake Allen, and Paul Byron specifically are all in contract years. So those guys are definitely going to be shopped, I would think. And then we'll see what the interest, and then Sean Monahan as well. He's only got 1 year on his deal. So there's a lot of interest in Josh Anderson, but it's got to be the right deal if they're going to pull the trigger. And they're not going to do it. Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon are not going to do it unless the value is there. Christian Dvorak, he's got to have a season and see what his value is at the trade deadline if the Canadiens are going to go ahead and shop him. Jonathan Drouin, he's going to have some Guy Lafleur inspiration in his game this year, and hopefully he just gets a full healthy season in, because Drouin, we know it's just been very disappointing. This whole tenure with the Canadiens has been a very disappointing tenure for him, and I think fans and himself could agree to that based on just the lack of games he's been able to play overall in that 6-year contract span. So how many games will Mike Pezzetta play? Because I'm curious where he's going to fit in this lineup, and if his playing style is going to really fit Martin St. Louis' vision for how he wants the Canadiens to play. So I don't know. I mean, 25 games, 20 games. I don't know how many games he's going to play, but in a development season, this could be the best opportunity for Pez to showcase what he can do, potentially to other teams if they're not going to move forward with him next year. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Habs forward prospects to keep an eye on. This one has my curiosity piqued for sure. There's some definitely interesting names in here. Our 26th overall pick, Philippe Machar, Emil Heineman. I'm really curious to see what that kid can do. Joshua Waugh, Jesse Lilonen, Riley Kidney, Jan Mishak, Raphael Harvey-Pinard, and Nate Schnarr. These are some names I feel like we should keep an eye on. Forward prospects for the Habs. Some of them that have played a couple of games, some that haven't played any yet. But these are some names you want to keep an eye on this season for the Habs, whether it's with the Laval Rocket or with the Canadiens. Defense prospects to keep an eye on. So we have a pretty good little list here. We got Caden Gooley. I can't wait to see him come in, and Arbor Jackeye as well. These guys are going to be stalwarts potentially long-term for the Canadiens. I know Caden Gooley most likely is. And we'll see if Jackeye can keep his temper in check. He's going to have a lot of adrenaline and piss and vinegar in him as he gets into the NHL. I can guarantee that. Justin Barron, Jordan Harris, Matthias Norlinder, Jaden Struble, Gianni Fairbrother, Corey Schooneman, Otto Leskinen, and Madison Bowie. So these are defense prospects. We're likely going to see Gooley crack the roster, I feel, in the fall, unless they really feel like he's not ready quite yet and they want to have him go to Laval. I feel like Jackeye will likely start in Laval. That's just my gut feel there. And I feel like Jordan Harris and Justin Barron will start on the outside of the Habs lineup. So I feel like they'll be either healthy scratches or in Laval, but I'd rather see them in Laval and actually get some development time. And I really want to see when Jaden Struble finally gets an opportunity. The big question is he going to get an NHL contract? It would probably be a two-way contract, but he's got some grit and some size, even some skill, a little bit of offensive skill as well. A tough defender and a guy who can fight as well. So curious to see if Jaden Struble gets a contract with the Canadiens. All right, so this is the last one. So where will the Habs end up picking in the 2023 NHL entry draft? We know it's the Connor Bedard year. We know Michkov. We know that Fantilli is that's the top three projected as of right now. So will the Canadiens have the opportunity to? They have 2 first-round picks. We know this. One of them is top 10 protected. One of them is not, I believe. So are they going to get into the Connor Bedard sweepstakes? Are they going to get a chance at a top 5 or a top 10 pick? If they're top 10, that's really good news because we know how stacked this draft class is. So that being said, if the Canadiens overachieve, they may not get into that top 10, but the draft is deep enough where they should get some value in their 2 first-round picks this year, or do they move one of them? That's a question as well. So that's the storylines and the players I'm keeping an eye on for this season. I know it was a lot. I know it was kind of content overload there, but let me know what you guys think. What storylines, what players are you keeping an eye on the closest for this coming season? I'm really looking forward to this season. Like I said, I may be going to the home opener at the Bell Center. I'm just beyond stoked for that. It's going to be a tribute to my uncle who did pass away. So I'm going to see the game and then going to a celebration of life for him. So I'm going to be dedicating that game to him. I do plan to be there with my wife. So anyway, guys, leave a comment down below and let me know your list. What storylines, like I mentioned, are you keeping an eye on most? I can't wait to hear them. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you're seeing, you know what buttons to push. Thanks for the support. As always, cheers, guys.